Kunding National Park, straddling Taiwan's southernmost peninsula, hasn't had a good rain shower in months. The once lush fields of Longpan are now parched and yellow. Apart from the two lakes at Longluan and Nanren and the encircling ocean, by March, this part of Taiwan has been deep in dry season for some 6 months, visited only by an occasional sprinkle and relentless seasonal winds. Hengchun Peninsula's tropical monsoon climate has distinct wet and dry seasons, with warm temperatures year-round. Even in the depths of the winter dry season, wildlife abounds in the area's richly varied landscape, all awaiting patiently the rejuvenating rains of spring. At last, the long wait ends. The calendar cycles once more to the beginning of spring, the time of awakening, when peals of thunder are said to shake animals from their winter slumber. The land seems born anew, revitalized with energy and life. More and more wildlife venture out onto windward slopes and open fields. Long-awaited showers and diminished winds are two key enticements for animals of all kinds, particularly insects, to show themselves once again. This caterpillar will mature into a Hengchun birdwing, the national park's best-known butterfly. It is working its way voraciously through an endemic Aristolochia. This birdwing caterpillar will molt a total of 5 times before finally forming a chrysalis on its way to becoming a mature butterfly. In a moment, something rarely witnessed, a birdwing emerging from its cocoon. The Hengchun birdwing is an endangered protected endemic species. Populations have gradually increased, a reflection of successful national park headquarters' efforts to rehabilitate and protect birdwing habitats. Like other butterflies here, adult birdwings can be seen year-round, though eclosion, when butterflies emerge from cocoons, is concentrated between February and April. Spring also sees the re-emergence of the area's many insect species. Numbers continue to increase through the summertime to the onset of the next dry season. Kunding National Park is a rare tropical refuge for Taiwan's animals. Free of winter's cold and deprivations, animal life is scarce only atop sun-bleached coral outcroppings and along Kunding's beaches, although life can certainly be found here as well. The park itself is home to more than 30 wild mammal, a dozen or so amphibian, almost 50 reptile, over 300 bird, and countless insect species. This number doesn't even count the abundant life in offshore waters. This environment's variety of landforms and year-round warm climate make these creatures highly unique. Take the example of the coastal skink. Coastal skinks, living in the park in habitats adjacent to the ocean, are one of the few amphibians in Taiwan active on coral outcroppings. While able to swim, coastal-dwelling skinks usually stay clear of the ocean. They mainly stick to sunbathing on coral protrusions, waiting to catch passing arthropods. Their skin is slightly darker than that of Taiwan's other skinks. While this color may help them absorb heat more quickly, when Kunding sunshine gets too much, coastal skinks disappear into shaded crevices where temperatures are significantly cooler. But the harsh coral reef is too hot, too dry an environment for most animals. Fortunately, tropical coastal forests form the front line of an inland ecosystem that provides shelter and food to a diverse population. Take grasslands, for example. It's the mating season. And in a patch of silver grass near Longzaipu grassland, deep in the brush, hardy stalks have been bound together, providing a supportive frame for this basket-shaped nest. The new home of a pair of Taiwan pocket birds, tawny-flanked Prinias. There are 4 eggs inside, but the parents are not home, no doubt busy searching for more grass to strengthen the nest. The grassland-dwelling oriental skylark is much bolder than the Prinia, building their nests directly on the ground. Surrounded by short, stubby vegetation, their small profiles and earthy colors make them all but invisible. The disguise is clearly effective. However, once spied by a natural enemy like the deadly striped racer, oriental skylark chicks have much to fear. Reproduction offers no guarantees, and every opportunity should be turned to advantage. The brush and forests that envelop the Longluan Lake Nature Center provide a natural, secluded, and food-rich environment that is a perennial favorite of birds ready to bring progeny into the world. It is a nursery for thousands of new chicks every spring. Taiwan bulbuls are regular visitors here and a common sight within Kending National Park. Rare elsewhere in Taiwan and other parts of the world, this endemic bulbul ranges exclusively across lowlands from Hualien County in the east to Fenggong in the far southwest. Chinese bulbuls range to the west and north, with a clear line of demarcation between the populations. While springtime marks the start of activity for Kending's wildlife, things are just beginning to calm down at Longluan, the park's largest body of fresh water. The dozens of migratory bird species that spend half the year here in southern Taiwan carefully nurturing their young are now sheathed in a new coat of feathers, well-fed, and ready for another difficult journey northward. By the summer, these birds will have all vacated Longluan shores and flown to points far northward. They and their progeny will return here only with the onset of yet another winter season. Strong seasonal winds taper off a month or so after spring's initial awakening. Summer has officially arrived, a time of rising temperatures and plentiful rains. Daytime temperatures regularly crest above 30. While this may be ideal for butterflies and lizards, most wildlife retire beneath cooling shade to reduce moisture loss and await cooler evening temperatures. Afternoon thunder showers pepper the peninsula's lazy summer days, offering welcome respite from stifling heat, but for a fleeting moment only. But the main source of annual rainfall is typhoons, which regularly batter the island. Most prevalent in summer and autumn, typhoons bring torrential winds and rain. At the southern tip of the Hengchun Peninsula, Kanding National Park is a regular target. Torrential rains hew new streams and rivers across the forest floor, a surreal but short-lived landscape of gushing streams. Water inundates the burrows of yellow-gray and Rathbon's freshwater crabs. While these freshwater crabs are no stranger to damp stream banks, typhoon floods present nothing but an unwelcome bother. Typhoon winds send to the forest floor a motley jumble of leaves and branches, ultimately letting more sunlight and summer heat through the forest canopy. But fortunately, the heat of each day ends at nightfall. Formosan macaques climb atop one of Sheding Nature Park's famous ancient coral outcroppings, basking in the evening breeze. As the macaques work their way across the coral surface, a group of bats, the world's only true flying mammals, emerge from crevices that run deep into the weathered formation. It's just about time for their nightly foray for food. While bats feed during the evening, nighttime is when swallows prefer to rest. Thousands of barn swallows swarm in breathtaking plumes into the sky above Hengchun Township. Some are seasonal visitors that stay in Taiwan only between May and September. Finishing their business by nightfall, swallows sleep through the night before taking to the skies once more at daybreak. Expectant mothers make their way from this coastal grove to the sea, preparing to give birth. These blue land crabs are one of 20 species of land crabs in the park. Normally resident further inland, these crabs must still return to the ocean to release their larvae in seawater. However, an obstacle course of modern roadways has made this return a perilous journey. Confronting these crabs today is the Pingdong to Eluanbi Highway. Heavy and fast-moving, motor vehicles spell trouble each year for many crabs that have no choice but to cross this open stretch of asphalt. To meet this threat, the National Park headquarters has for many years actively promoted land crab conservation measures, with increasing numbers joining in the cause of helping land crabs. All hopes focus on making sure that every crab makes it to seaside spawning grounds. With the setting sun, temperatures begin to drop. Nighttime temperatures are typically 4 to 5 degrees less than during the daytime. After a good rain, humidity levels in the forest are high. It is a time when visitors, led by experienced naturalist guides, have the best chance of seeing nature here at its most abundant. Wildlife find comforting refuge in the darkness beneath the forest canopy at night. It is here that they mate, hunt, mature, and forage. This giant-headed walking stick, a Megacrania tsudai, is one of tropical Taiwan's rarest endemic species. It feeds on the serrated leaves of the screw pine. While screw pines can be found throughout coastal Taiwan, this rare walking stick limits its range to groves that grow on the Hengchuan Peninsula and Green Island, several kilometers offshore in the Pacific. So far, we've found only females, no males. But not to worry, Megacrania can reproduce by parthenogenesis, with eggs unfertilized by male sperm. The flurry of wildlife activity by night tapers off with the approach of dawn. The return of seasonal winds marks the approaching end of yet another summer season. Autumn temperatures that vary little from those in the summertime keep wildlife active through daylight hours. But this busy scene is set to change visibly in just a few weeks' time. Seasonal winds have been absent for some 6 months. Now, they return with gusto. Monsoon winds whip across the Hengchuan Peninsula from October through April. Hengchuan's undulating topography can accelerate winds to gale force strengths, making it difficult for animals to hold themselves steady out in the open. Wildlife beats a gradual retreat from open spaces and won't be seen in significant numbers until the coming spring. One of the exceptions to this rule is the Sika deer, for which late fall is mating season. Antlered bucks hoping to attract a doe's affection writhe about, showing off their bodies. Occasionally, the excited bucks burst out in a florid mating call. But efforts do not always meet with success. The herd's strongest males chase weaker rivals off, hoping for a winner-takes-all victory. The vanquished wait in the wings for their chance another day. Bucks in hopes of a chance to mate have until January, the end of the mating season, to find their opportunity. Seasonal winds continue to grow in strength as winter approaches. But don't think that winds force all wildlife in Kending National Park to hole up for the duration. Autumn actually hosts the year's second major wave of wildlife activity. Bird migration season has begun. Beginning each September, the entire park is turned into a seasonal tenement for birds seeking respite from winter cold. Autumn is a popular time for human visitors too, who flock to see the many avian species. The brown shrike usually arrives in the vanguard of the migratory influx. For this raptor, the Hengchuan Peninsula is a smorgasbord of small animals. It dives viciously, sometimes violently, in for the kill. At only 20 centimeters in length, the brown shrike can still strike an instant and deadly blow to lizards and mice. Finding food engages migratory birds for much of their time in the park. Like this egret, on the hunt in search of food. All must stock up for the continued long flight southward still ahead. Rest, of course, is important as well. Egrets are a communal species that prefer to rest in flocks. This makes their takeoff afterward, with dozens, perhaps hundreds of egrets rising together, a stirring sight. Migrating birds flying southward across Taiwan rarely stay long, some for a few weeks, others for just a few days. Their brief stays simply add to the excitement of their arrival. Have you seen raptors yet? The annual arrival of birds of prey heralds the start of the height of the migratory season. Birdwatchers from around Taiwan make a regular pilgrimage here to Lida Bridge in Manzhou County. Everyone is awaiting the arrival of the star attraction. Finally, a gray-faced buzzard eagle makes an entrance. This buzzard eagle is also known as the National Day bird because it regularly arrives in Kending National Park on or around Taiwan's National Day, October 10th. Buzzard eagles are also joined by many other migrating birds of prey. The departure of the last flock southward signals the beginning of winter. Seasonal winds notwithstanding, winters in the national park are not overly taxing on wildlife here. Flowers still bloom in crevasses and cul-de-sacs protected from the wind. This is good news for butterflies, which can wait out the winter without hibernating. The otherworldly, weather-worn outcroppings of coral that dot Uluanbi in the park's southeastern section are the uplifted remains of a reef ecosystem that flourished for hundreds of thousands of years. Today, they offer an ideal sanctuary for area butterflies. Rice paper butterflies dine on succulent flower nectar, protected behind a coral fortress from strong seasonal gusts. Here, butterflies continue to thrive beneath a warm winter sun, one of the few places on Taiwan able to sustain insect activity year-round. While seasonal rains prevail, most animals retreat to shelters until spring. Windward environments appear abandoned and lifeless. Plants have withered. Some areas are inundated by blowing sands. It is now the driest part of the year, when even airborne moisture is scarce. But even now, birds still find the allure of Kending National Park impossible to resist. Do you see them? Here, on Longluan Lake, duck, geese, and other waterfowl have returned. This time every year, more than a dozen species of migratory waterfowl call at Longluan. Most arrive from the north and hunker down to stay the winter. Hengchuan is warm compared to their snowbound homes up north. Food is plentiful as well. The perfect place to fatten up for a return flight in the spring.